Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
A Tuesday full of variety as we start off with the Chase and Sanborn Hour with host Rudy Vallee and Edgar and Charlie, although they're both in the hospital. And we'll also hear from Lansing Hatfield and Joan Blondell and Vera Vague and others. There you go. That's all coming up today. We'll also hear an episode of the Mel Blanc Show, and we'll also have an episode of Claudia. Jonathan Thomas and his Christmas on the Moon will also be with us, and an episode of Superman. That's all straight ahead on this Tuesday, the 10th day of December, 345th day of the year, 21 days left till we get to 2025. Isaac Newton's derivation of Kepler's laws from his theory of gravity, read to the Royal Society by Edmund Halley. In 1817, Mississippi became the 20th state of the Union, and in 1836, Emory College chartered in Oxford, Georgia. It's now Emory University. Wyoming granted women the right to vote on this date in 1869. Do we blame it on them? No, I'm not going there. The first Nobel Prize is awarded on this date in 1901. President Teddy Roosevelt won the Nobel Peace Prize on this date in 1906, becoming the first American to win a Nobel Prize. In 1935, the Downtown Athletic Club a trophy was given to halfback Jay Berwanger of the University of Chicago. That trophy would later be renamed the Heisman Trophy. The UN General Assembly on this date in 1948 adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This is also International Human Rights Day. CBS Television premiered on this date in 1955, The Mighty Mouse Playhouse.
Here I come to save the day. That means that Mighty Mouse is on the way. Yes, sir, when there is a wrong to right, Mighty Mouse will join the fight. On the sea or on the land, he gets the situation well in hand.
The Terry Toons cartoon ran for nearly 12 years on Saturday mornings. In 1964, Martin Luther King Jr. became the youngest African American ever to win a Nobel Peace Prize.
I accept this award on behalf of a civil rights movement which is moving with determination and a majestic scorn for risk and danger to establish a reign of freedom and a rule of justice.
King was just 35 years old at the time in 1964. In 1978, Prime Minister of Israel Menachem Begin and President of Egypt Anwar Sadat jointly awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1978. In 2006, 1 million Lebanese opposition supporters gathered in downtown Beirut, calling for the government to resign. In 2019, Democrats in the House of Representatives announced formal charges against President Trump, accusing him of abusing power and obstructing Congress, making him the only fourth president in history to face impeachment. He would be acquitted in the Senate. And in 2021, a widespread, deadly, and violent tornado outbreak slammed the central, midwestern, and southern regions of the U.S. 89 people killed by the tornadoes, most of the fatalities occurring in Kentucky, where a single tornado there killed 57 and injured hundreds of others. Passing away on this date in history, Otis Redding.
1968.
I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, just sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time.
Recorded just days before his death in 1967, that became the first posthumous hit, #1 on both the Billboard Hot 100 and R&B charts. A sad postscript for Otis Redding, sitting on the dock of the bay. He was just 26 when he died in 1967. Also passing away on this date in history, the founder of the Nobel Prize, Alfred Nobel. Also Walter Johnson, baseball player. Writer Damon Runyon. Filmmaker Ed Wood. Freeman Gosden of Amos and Andy fame. Russian-born violinist Yasha Heifetz, who was never as good as Jack Benny. That's what Benny would say anyway. The industrialist and art collector Armand Hammer. Also Farron Young, Hello Walls. Actress Shirley Hemphill. Senator Eugene McCarthy. Comedian Richard Pryor. Tommy on Alice, Philip McKeon. Tiny Lister, actor and wrestler as well. And the Monkees, Michael Nesmith, all passing away on this date in history. Birthdays on this date include the composer Morton Gould. Morton Gould's Rag Blues Rag. Morton Gould, born on this date in history, along with Emily Post, Una Merkel, Chet Huntley, Harry Locke, Dorothy Lamour, and Alexander Courage. Best known as the composer of the Star Trek music over the years. Actor Dan Blocker, Hoss Cartwright on Bonanza. Actor Tommy Rettig, remember him from the early Lassie shows. Tommy Kirk from Old Yeller and the Shaggy Dog. And Chad and Jeremy singer Chad Stewart. And Japanese singer and actor Ku Sakamoto, who had one of the most bizarre hits in American history.
1961.
Beautiful lyrics to the song, I look up as I walk so that the tears won't fall, remembering those spring days, and tonight I am all alone. I look up as I walk, counting the stars with tearful eyes, remembering those summer days, and tonight I'm all alone. And American music executives called the song Sukiyaki. Ku Sakamoto, a wonderful hit that actually was redone with Americanized lyrics by a disco group, A Taste of Honey, and did a wonderful job with it. Ku Sakamoto, born on this date in 1941.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
The original host of Whose Line Is It Anyway? Clive Anderson, 72 years old today. Lori Partridge of the Partridge Family and L.A. Law, Susan Day, 72 today. From the TV version of Fame, Nia Peoples is 63. Actress-singer Raven Simone, remember her from The Cosby Show? 39 today. And celebrity chef Bobby Flay is 60.
I'm Bobby Flay. Tonight, one brave chef will try to take me down in my house. Woo! Bring it on.
Bobby Flay, 60 years old today. Those just a few of the people who celebrate the 10th day of December as their birthday. And if this is your birthday...
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox rolls on now as we go back a long time, a very, very long time, to December 10th, 1939, 85 years ago today, the Chase and Sanborn Hour. That's up next.
This is Dennis James. Here is Leo A. Hoig, Director of the Office of Civil and Defense Mobilization, who has a message for you about the importance of a home shelter for survival in the nuclear age.
Even though tomorrow's weapon delivery systems will travel at fantastic speeds, there will always be time to seek shelter from fallout. The important thing is you must have a shelter ready before attack. An underground shelter will give you excellent protection from fallout. Your basement will offer good protection if windows and walls are properly shielded. To help you build your fallout shelter, the Office of Civil and Defense Mobilization has prepared a detailed publication called Family Fallout Shelter. For your free copy, write to Post Office Box, Home Shelter, Battle Creek, Michigan, or contact your local Civil Defense office.
And we do have fallout shelter information in the show notes of the podcast. You can also find that information at classicradio.stream. That's classicradio.stream. I know we may not ever experience it, okay? We may not ever experience it, but I will tell you this. Some of this information will be good for other purposes. So grab the stuff that we have up there in the show notes or at classicradio.stream. It's free. I mean, you can't complain about the price. You can't. Now, an episode of the Chase and Sanborn Hour with host Rudy Vallee. This goes back 85 years, December 10th, 1939.
The makers of Chase and Sanborn Coffee, the blend that's friendship in a cup, present the Chase and Sanborn Hour. And your host, Rudy Vallee. This is Rudy Vallee saying hi-ho to another Chase and Sanborn Hour and extending a cordial greeting from all of us, from Dorothy Lamour, from Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy, from Robert Armbruster and the Chase and Sanborn Orchestra. This evening, our guest book bears 3 fresh signatures as we herald the presence of lovely Joan Blondell, clamorous Vera Vague, and baritone Lansing Hatfield. To these 3 also, our warmest welcome. And may we add our very sincere wish that all of you throughout the week will find in Chase and Sanborn Coffee the real friendship and pleasure that we hope you find in us, which sincere sentiment is shared by all of us. And in speaking of sharing, Dorothy Lamour and I merge voices in a sprightly new tune called Chatterbox. Arturo Armbruster, the merger, if you please. Chatterbox, 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 talking all day long. Chatterbox, 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 like an endless song. Your voice could rival the sweetest of birds, but you keep using the wrong little words. Chatterbox, 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 give your heart a chance. Chatterbox, 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 speaking of romance. How about saying I love you, I do. I never knew a chatterbox like you. You talk a mile a minute, but there's nothing in it. It's much too much. All your conversation is a recitation on life or such. If I wanted knowledge, I would go to college, my chickadee. Won't you stop chattering and say you love me? Chatterbox, 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 give your heart a chance. Chatterbox, 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 speaking of romance. How about saying I love you, I do? I never knew a chatterbox like you.
Chatterbox, 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 talking all day long. Chatterbox, 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 like an endless song. Your voice is rival, the sweetest of birds, but you keep using the wrong little word. Chatterbox, 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 give your heart a chance. Chatterbox, 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 speaking of romance. How about saying I love you, I do? I never knew a chatterbox like you. You talk a mile a minute, but there's nothing in it, it's much too much. All your conversation is a recitation on life and such.
If I wanted knowledge, I would go to college, my chickadee. Won't you stop chattering?
Chatterbox, 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 give your heart a chance. Chatterbox, 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 speaking of romance. How about saying I love you, I do? I never knew a chatterbox. A lovely little chatterbox. Chatter, 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 chatterbox like you.
A few weeks ago, it was our pleasure to extend all of Chase and Sanborn's hospitality to a guest singer, one Lansing Hatfield. Mr. Hatfield liked our brand of hospitality, and we liked Mr. Hatfield's brand of voice. So an invitation to revisit with us was issued and accepted. Lansing, it's nice to have you back.
It's nice to be back, Rudy.
There, you see. Well, Lansing, the floor is all yours.
Thanks, Rudy. And the pleasure is mine.
And the song is George Gershwin's Song of the Flame, is it not?
What's that light that is beckoning? Take your new day of reckoning. On, 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 on. All our freedom is calling you, calling you, calling you. Helpless children of the night, hoping blindly for the right. The flame of hope is near, flaming torch of truth and right, rising high and burning bright. The flame of hope is here. What's that light that is beckoning? Through the night it is beckoning. Come, 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 come. Take your new day of reckoning. What new fire is enthralling you? Soul of freedom is calling you. On at the hill of hope and glory, follow, follow the flame. What new fire is enthralling you? Soul of freedom is calling you. On, on, follow, follow the flame, the flame. Follow, follow the flame.
As you no doubt have read in your newspaper, our mutual friend, Edgar Bergen, has taken ill during the past week. It's nice to be able to tell all of you, well-wishers and good friends, that Edgar is on his way toward complete recovery. So well, in fact, that he insisted on paying you his regular weekly visit and talking to you himself. And to make sure that we'll be kept well informed, we have sent Charlie McCarthy down to St. Vincent's Hospital in Los Angeles to give us the real inside story of Edgar's convalescence. All right, Charlie, let's hear the lowdown.
Hello, everybody. This is Charlie McCarthy coming to you direct from Edgar Bergen's bedside. We are surrounded by a bevy of beautiful nurses. Yoo-hoo! Girls now. Let's have no giggling. Let's all be little Florence Nightingales. We had hoped for a few words from E.B., but he's asleep at the Mo. Or something. As soon as he wakes up, I'll have him say a few words, and if he won't talk, I'll have him moan a little fire.
Charlie, just a moment.
No, you're asleep, Bergen. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, doctors and nurses, Edgar Bergen was brought to the hospital suffering from a stubborn case of falling hair.
Charlie. That is not true.
Oh.
I was brought here for observation.
Oh, for observation, yes. And from what I observe, they're sick and tired of looking at you. Well,
Charlie, I'm ashamed of you.
Well, you do look a little peaked. Peaked, yes. Why don't you save your strength, Bergen, and let me do all the talking?
All right. Thank you.
Yes.
I'll admit I am a little bit weak.
Yes, I noticed that. My voice ain't coming out as strong as usual.
Well, it's nothing serious.
No, nothing serious.
I'm just a little shaky in the knees, that's all.
Yes, you can say that again, yes. And it ain't comfortable, I might add. I haven't had such a shakedown since I rode on the old 6th Avenue.
Oh, well, I'm not as bad as all that.
Oh, yes, you are. But I got good news for you.
You have?
Mm-hmm.
Well...
Yes, the doctor told me that he once knew a man who had the same thing that you got.
Mm-hmm.
And the man got well.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's good.
Yes.
The doctor has assured me that I'll be out of here tomorrow or the next day.
Uh-huh.
And it won't be long before I'll be exactly the same as I was.
You mean there'll be no improvement? Say, Mr. Bergen, I meant to tell you, the doctor phoned a few minutes ago, but I didn't want to bother you.
Oh, you didn't want to bother me?
Yeah.
I see. Well, what did he want?
Well, he wanted to talk to you, but I told him you were too sick to see him.
Oh, I see. Too sick to see the doctor?
Yes.
Well, now, why did you say that?
Why should I give him the satisfaction of saying you were all right? He'll soak you enough anyhow.
Charlie, that is no way to talk about the doctor.
Oh.
I think he's a very fine man.
Oh, yes, I like him. He talks very nice.
Yes.
Yes? He's nice to talk to.
Yes, he is.
Yes, I found him that way. Sort of educated, ain't he?
Yes.
Yes, sort of.
I think he is, sort of.
Yes. He acts like a college man.
Oh, I think he must be.
Yes, I think so, yeah. You know, Mr. Bergen, you never told me what was the matter with you. What did they find when they made the dog's noses?
No.
Dog's toeses?
No.
The autopsy?
No. I mean the diagnosis.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What was wrong with you?
Well, Charlie, you see, I've been just a little bit too active.
Oh, I see.
And, well, you know, if you overtax your strength, the weakest part of your body, well, it just breaks down.
Oh. You been having headaches?
No. Of course not.
Well, I didn't know. Say, Bergen, while you're in the hospital, why don't you have a hair transfusion? Now, wait a minute. Just trying to help, that's all. Just trying to be helpful. Say, Bergen.
Yes?
I don't know whether you noticed it now, but they've got some awful pretty nurses here, haven't they?
Yes, they have, Charlie.
Yes, they have, yes. I think that, well, there's so many of them.
Yes, well, that little brunette is very attractive.
Uh-huh. Yes, she is. You mean Helen?
Yes, I guess so. Of course, the blonde is very nice, too.
The blonde? Oh, yes, you mean Mildred.
Oh, I see, yes.
She's busy tomorrow night.
Oh, she's busy. I see, yes.
I'm doing all right.
Yes. You seem to know all about it.
Yes, uh-huh. Yes, I was just starting to write down the phone numbers when the supervisor came in. Oh, I see. My, how they get around.
Yeah.
I didn't want to tell you this, Bergen, but you know the time Helen took your temperature?
Yes.
She was holding my hand all the time.
She was?
Yes. So it was your temperature and my pulse.
Yes, Well, I did have a little fever, didn't I?
Yes. She said it was 101 or 102.
Well, last night it went down to 98.
Oh, you broke 100. Good. What's par?
Well, don't worry about that, Charlie. I'm all right, and I appreciate your concern.
Uh-huh.
And you're coming down to see me at the hospital.
That's all right. I didn't mind it at all.
Yeah.
The fruit was nice, too.
Yeah. Anyway, your loyalty and your consideration, it shall not go unrewarded.
What have I done now?
No. I was just saying that I want to do something nice.
Oh.
You've been so good lately.
Yes?
Charlie, I'm thinking of raising your allowance to $1 a week.
$1 a week? Oh, nurse, the man is delirious. Is there a house doctor in the house?
Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Dottie, happy birthday to you.
Why, thank you, Rudy.
Sweet 16, Dottie?
Well, no, not quite.
Sweet anyway. Younger, Dottie?
Not quite, Rudy.
Older?
Quite. The song I'm going to sing...
How much older?
The song is One Cigarette for Two, written by...
22, perhaps?
Written by my friend Roz Metzger, Dan Dougherty, and Ben Ryan.
23?
And I'd like to sing it for you.
Oh, well, young and alluring anyway.
Did you say something, Rudy?
Oh, me? Oh, no, not a word. Sing, Dottie. One cigarette for two.
One little glance from you implies it would be nice if we divide that one cigarette for two. There in the midnight blue, was there a moon? I wouldn't know. All I remember is the glow of one cigarette or two. Each little puff I measure, watching the light descend. Each little puff I treasure, down to the very end. I got a thrill with you, and does a memory linger yet of lips that lingered where they met on one cigarette or two. It was better that way, smoke dreams blowing away. Each puff a dream for to each little one I measure, watching the light descend. Each little puff I treasure, down to the very end. Of lips that lingered where they met on one little cigarette. One cigarette or two.
By mail and by wire, by train and by air, by every means short of the Pony Express, this good word comes back to us. Being human, we're proud of it and pass it along to you.
Yes, sir, the good news is just piling in. We get it from every side. Chase and Sanborn Drip Grind Coffee is going great guns everywhere. You know, people can't change to it quick enough now that they can get their favorite blend, Dated Coffee, in the new Drip Grind. Because Dated Coffee's freshly roasted, so the flavor is all right in it, rich and mellow as it can be. That's what you need for drip coffee, all the flavor you can get. And Chase and Sanborn gives it to you. We've put up modern roasting plants all across the country, so no matter where you live, you get this delicious drip grind coffee at its richest, freshly roasted. We date every silver package, so you're sure of freshness. What's more, our fresh food trucks stop at your grocer's every few days. And we see to it that no pound of dated coffee stays in a store for more than 10 days. That applies to the regular grind for percolated coffee and to the drip grind, too. And that dating and delivery system keeps the price down for you. With the oven so close, delivery so fast and frequent, and the date on every package, why, there's no call for heavy, expensive containers. The drip grind also comes in the money-saving silver package, and you save the difference in cash. So, for drip coffee, the way you like it, switch over to Chase and Sanborn Dated Coffee in the Drip Grind. It will pay you to do that tomorrow.
With infinite pleasure, I spread the welcome mat for our guest this evening. One of the grandest young troopers of whom Hollywood can boast, Joan Blondell. We can always count on Joan for a splendid performance. And from what we hear in preview circles, she does her best job yet in the forthcoming Columbia picture, The Amazing Mr. Williams. She appears tonight with Fred MacKaye in an original comedy drama written by Michael Jackson and Winston Miller. Presenting Joan Blondell in After the Party's Over.
The scene, the small, newly furnished apartment of the newlywed Bob Bartlett's. Bob and Peggy have given their first party this evening. A very special party because Bob's boss, Mr. Klein, is numbered among the guests. But it's late and the guests are leaving, much to the relief of the long-suffering folk in the neighboring apartments.
Good night, Grace. Good night, Jerry. I'm glad you did. Good night.
Good night, Bob.
Good night, Mr. Klein.
Must you go?
Well, I hate to, Mrs. Bartlett. It's been such a nice party. But after all, I'm a working man, too. If I overslept tomorrow, your husband might think his boss was an old man.
Oh, you an old man. Don't be silly.
Did you hear that, Bob? You know, I like to see my men happily married. Sort of settles them down, I think. I remember when Mrs. Klein and I first got a little apartment like this. Well, I really must be going. So, good night.
Good night.
I'll see you tomorrow, Mr. Klein.
Darling.
Sweetheart.
Our first party. How did it go, darling? Was everything all right?
Perfect, sweet.
Your boss, do you think he really had a good time?
Did he? You heard what he said, didn't you? About liking to see his employees married? Boy, there's no telling what he meant by that. Why, this party might be the turning point in my career, the way the boss was talking. Imagine, just because we got married.
Happily married, he said, darling. Anybody can be just plain married.
Not to you, they can't.
Mr. and Mrs. Bob Bartlett.
That's it.
Happily married. How do we let them know, though, that, when you meet people on the street, how do they know you're happily married?
Tell them, that's what I do.
Oh.
Just go right up to them and say, how do you do? I'm happily married.
Oh, silly. It was a nice party, though, wasn't it?
I'll say. Oh, it was a swell party. Swell wife. And now a swell night's sleep. Oh, boy, I'm dead. You coming, dear?
In just a few minutes, darling.
I couldn't stay awake another 10 minutes of... Oh, Peggy, you're not going to clean up now.
Well, I can't stand waking up to a messy apartment.
But the whole apartment isn't messy. It's just this room.
Just the same thing.
Well, why is it we don't sleep in this room? Look, I'll get up tomorrow morning and clean it all up before you wake up.
You get up early.
Well...
I'd never be able to sleep if I left the apartment like this. Now, you run along to bed, though, if you're tired.
No. If you insist on cleaning up at this hour of the night, I'll help.
You don't have to, darling.
The heck I don't. Go on. You wash them and I'll dry them.
Thank you, sweet.
Oh, not at all. Alley-oop, let's go.
Darling. Was everything really all right tonight?
Certainly everything was all right. I told you.
Well, I don't mean just all right. I mean, was it perfect?
Sure it was. Where did these little plates go?
Up on the left. Bob, I want you to tell me if there was the least little thing wrong, so that next time I'll be able to do it better. That's the only way you learn.
Darling, everything was swell.
I want you to be perfectly frank with me.
Well, frankly, honey, now that you ask, I thought there was a little too much cheese in the dressing. What's the matter?
Oh.
What? Don't look like that, darling, after all you asked me to tell you.
I know, but I didn't think you would.
Oh. But, darling...
Oh, our first party. And I tried so hard. And you tell me the dressing was bad.
I didn't say it was bad, darling. As a matter of fact, it was pretty darn good.
Oh, you don't think it was at all. You think it was awful. And now everybody knows that I'm not a good cook.
But, darling, it wasn't as bad as all that, really.
There, see? Now you said it again.
Said what again?
That it was bad.
I did not say it was bad. I only said the cheese had a little too much... the dressing had a little too much cheese in it.
Well, I don't see how it could have. I made it right from the cookbook.
I'm sorry, dear, but it did.
It did not.
Darling, it did.
Robert Billings Bartlett, I spent 45 minutes over that dressing.
I don't care how long it took you. The fact remains
Of course you don't care how long it took. Doesn't tire you out, no matter how hard I work.
It does, too. Hang the dressing.
Well, if you feel that way, no wonder you didn't like it. Maybe if you started out with a more fair and open attitude, you would have liked it better. If you hadn't had such a closed mind.
I never had a closed mind about dressing in my life.
The others didn't seem to think it was so awful. I noticed Jerry Dudley ate 2 helpings.
That pipsqueak. He'd eat arsenic if you batted your eyes while you gave it to him.
I don't have to bat my eyes to make epicures enjoy good food. And Jerry Dudley is not a pipsqueak.
No, I'm being polite.
Oh. Just who, may I ask, is your idea of a good, impartial judge of dressing? Grace Stevens, I suppose.
Well, as a matter of fact, she is. At least she'll judge the dressing just for its own sake. She wouldn't sit there mooning at you while you serve it.
I should say not. Not at me.
Now, just what do you mean by that?
You know very well what I mean. The way she simpered at you. Of course, one couldn't blame her too much. After all, if some men like that phony Southern accent...
It so happens that Grace Stevens came from Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, she came from Nashville, all right, at the age of 6 months.
Well, she went back there to school, though. She said that's when she really got in the habit of talking with the...
You don't have to stick up to her for me. If you like that sort of baby talk, I'm sure I don't care.
I didn't say I liked it. I'm simply telling you how she happens to have it.
Very interesting, I'm sure. But even if it were real, how does a southern accent qualify her to judge salad dressing?
Well, it doesn't disqualify her, does it?
Yeah, you're being silly.
Oh, I'm being silly.
Bob, you broke a plate.
I know it.
Hey, you understand? Oh. Quiet!
There. Even the neighbors can hear you. Now, will you be more quiet and more careful?
Well, get the soap off of them better and they won't slip.
Don't tell me how to wash dishes.
And don't tell me how to break them then. I know what I'm doing.
Stop waving your arms.
I'm perfectly able to dry dishes without it.
Oh, you dropped that on purpose?
Not that time, but this is...
My wedding china!
Your china's half mine, isn't it? Well, here goes my half.
There, now. Now the neighbors can't sleep.
And neither can I, not around here.
Bob, where are you going?
Out to a boiler factory where it's peaceful.
Bob Bartlett, if you go out that door...
Yeah, well, good night.
Hello, folks.
Oh.
Mr. Klein.
I was just about to ring. I was afraid I was going to waken you. Glad you're still up.
Yes, we were just, we're still up.
I just came back after my hat.
Oh, your hat. Yes, your hat. Peggy, where's Mr. Klein's hat?
You've got it on.
I was just going to, here.
Thank you, thanks. Well, Bob, I don't suppose there's any use keeping this from you any longer. Well, Bob, you're going to be the new sales manager.
No.
I'm going to.
Oh, Mr. Klein.
Oh, now. Don't thank me, children. When I see one of my men settle down happily at home, why, I know he can handle responsibility in the office.
Oh, Bob, I'm so proud.
Well, now, Mrs. Bartlett, Bob should be proud of you, too.
Yes, sir, I certainly am. And I was just telling Peggy that...
Before I go, Mrs. Bartlett, you won't mind if Mrs. Klein calls you in the morning,
Calls? Well, not at all, Mr. Klein.
I wanted to get the recipe for that marvelous salad dressing.
Why, certainly, Mr. Klein.
Well, that's what I always say. Great little cook, my wife.
Well, good night, children. I'll be running along.
Good night, Mr. Klein.
Mr. Bartlett. Darling.
Sweetheart.
Oh, Bob, I'm so excited. I don't know what to do.
Go to sleep. Yeah, go to sleep.
What a sweet sketch. Joan, Blondell, Fred MacKaye after the party's gone. And that's the first half of the Chase and Sanborn Hour with Rudy Vallee as the host from 85 years ago, December 10th, 1939. We'll have the conclusion in just a moment. Thank you so much for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Civil defense is common sense. This is Fred McMurray. Home shelters can be built for as little as $100. Simple plans for building inexpensive home shelters are available free from your Civil Defense office. Ask for a copy of the Family Fallout Shelter booklet.
Let's roll on now with the conclusion of the Chase and Sanborn Hour. This goes back 85 years, December 10th, 1939.
This is Rudy Vallee, and the Chase and Sanborn Hour continues. If we are to believe the writers of salty songs of the sea, a sailor's life is most definitely a merry one. And after all, as a confirmed landlubber, who am I to doubt it? Especially when such excellent evidence is given by Lansing Hatfield as he sings the old English folk song, The Sailor's Life.
life's the life I trow. He works now late, now early, now up, now down, now to and fro. What then? He takes it cheerily. When perils gather round, all sense of danger's drowned. We despise it, poor man. We sing a little and laugh a little and work a little and play a little, fiddle a little and put it a little as bravely as we can. We sing a little and laugh a little and work a little and play a little, fiddle a little and put it a little as bravely as we can. If howling winds and roaring seas give proof of coming danger, we view the storm but rest at ease, for fears to jack a stranger. When perils gather round, all sense of danger's drowned, we despise it to a man. We sing a little and laugh a little and work a little and play a little, fiddle a little and put it a little as bravely as we can. We sing a little and laugh a little and work a little and play a little, fiddle a little and put it a little as bravely as we can. But think not that our life is hard, those storms at sea will treat us. For a coming home's a sweet reward, when wives and sweethearts greet us. When perils gather round, all sense of danger's drowned, we despise it to a man. We sing a little and laugh a little and work a little and play a little, fiddle a little and put it a little as bravely as we can. We sing a little and laugh a little and work a little and play a little, fiddle a little and put it a little as bravely as we can, as bravely as we can, as bravely as we can.
Distinct pleasure this evening to welcome a very gifted visitor. Very gifted. And the gift is gab. I'm talking, of course, of that rambling rose of 1,000 conversations, our one-woman windstorm, vociferous Vera Vague.
Oh, hello, Mr. Vallee. It's very pleasant to see you again, but you'll just have to pardon me. I'm in an awful mood.
That doesn't seem right, Miss Vague. What's the matter?
Well, somebody just insulted me. The idea just makes me boil.
What happened?
Oh, somebody just said my husband was the ugliest man in Hollywood, of all things.
Oh, but Miss Vague, you're not even married.
I know it. That's what makes me boil.
I wouldn't take it too hard, Miss Vague. He probably didn't mean any harm.
Well, maybe not. You know, that's one thing I like about you, Mr. Vallee. You're so understanding. You and I come from the same social mold.
Oh, you're just saying that, Miss Vague. I'm sure you're moldier than I am.
Well, bless your heart. You know, Mr. Vallee, in my hometown, I'm really quite a social figure, if I do say so myself. Yes, just last week I went back there and they printed an item about me in the local paper. Would you care to hear it?
I'm all ears.
I know it, but would you care to hear it? Oh, poor Mr. Vallee. Anyway, here it is, right here. Right at the top of the society column here. Yes. It says, Miss Vera Vague, Hollywood belle of 20 summers, is visiting her twin brother, aged 52. How did that get in there? Twin brother. Well, you've seen my brother, Mr. Vallee. He's not a bit like me, is he?
I wouldn't say so.
No.
He looked quite intelligent to me.
Well, thank you. But, getting back to the point, Mr. Vallee, there really are very few polite people left. Men just aren't chivalrous anymore.
Oh, Miss Vague, you mustn't be bitter.
Well, I am. Oh, dear, for the good old days of Queen Elizabeth and Sir Walter Raleigh. Wasn't it sweet the way he threw his coat over that mud puddle?
Very sweet.
Yes, but those days are gone forever. You never hear of a man throwing himself at a woman's feet anymore. Unless he happens to be a chiropodist. Oh, dear, je suis.
Oh, French.
Yes.
Incidentally, while you're running down the male sex, what about your affaire de coeur, your cher petit chou?
I beg your pardon?
What about your own boyfriend?
What boyfriend? Oh, yes, I see what you mean. My boyfriend, yes, esprit de corps. Yes, well, I had one who was always a perfect gentleman. As a matter of fact, when we had dinner, he was so polite, he used to knock on all the oyster shells before he opened them. Vive la chivalry! The old barnacle.
And what happened to the old barnacle?
Well, he began criticizing my appearance and my singing and my friends, and finally he married another woman, so I just jilted him.
Old, hard to get vague.
Yes, well, no use crying over spilt barnacle. But I want to say that I think the test of good breeding is the ability to entertain properly, don't you?
I do.
What did you say?
I do.
Oh, dear, I'll bet you don't know what I'm thinking about.
I do.
Well, where was I?
You were talking about the ability to entertain.
Oh, yes, entertainment, yes. Now, I think the greatest sport of all is a masquerade party. I just love masquerades, don't you?
Yes, I do.
You should. At any rate, I was invited to a masquerade party just the other night where everyone was supposed to come dressed as a wild animal.
As a wild animal?
Yes.
Was the party fun?
Well, I didn't enjoy it much. My costume was so realistic they kept me chained up in the cloakroom for 2 hours.
Oh, that's a shame. Only 2 hours.
Well, I don't care. When I did get out, I had a marvelous time. I was the life of the party. After we unmasked, I organized a treasure hunt for the men. I was to be the treasure, and whoever found me was to get a great big kiss as a reward.
Who found you?
Well, nobody. I never saw such stupid men in all my life. I was hiding right out there in plain sight, too.
You might have done better if you'd left your mask on.
Yes. Oh. But you know, at a party, Mr. Vallee, everything has to be tout a fait comme il faut. That's French for, means, well, it suffers in translation.
You speak quite a lot of French, Miss Vague.
Oh, yes, I speak it fluently. You know, I lived over there for years.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I had a villa there, right there by Very, along the Riviera.
Have you ever lived in Switzerland, Miss Vague?
Oh, yes, Switzerland. Oh, lovely Switzerland. I was practically born there. Geneva, Lucerne, St. Moritz. Oh, beautiful places.
Ah, yes. Magnificent days at St. Moritz. Do you remember that wonderful gorge in the Alps?
Oh, my, I certainly do. Never ate so much in my life.
Few songs that I've sung bring back the poignant memories that I find in this tune, Adios. Perhaps it is quixotic, but even though these memories are not too happy, they are still very much a part of me, as is the song, Adios.
To say adios, I'll be so
so lonely for you only. I sigh and cry my adios, adios to you. And in this heart is memory of what used to be dear for you and me set apart. Watching and waiting above. Soon it will be blessing our love. Adios. For happy endings I'll return, dear, to you. With a love true, no more to bid you adios. Me voy lindo moreno lejos de ti. El alma tiene una pena porque al partir temo que tú olvides nuestro amor. Hermosa flor, mi alma baticaste con la fragancia de tu candor. Tú eres toda mi ilusión. Tú eres mi dulce canción. Adiós. Me voy lindo moreno, me voy de aquí. Ay, llora mi tristeza lejos de ti. The best praise any food can have is when people ask for more. So it's music to our ears when most of the continent comes back for seconds and thirds.
That's the story wherever you go. Why, there's just no limit to the number of times people come back asking for more of the same, please. Yes, sir, Chase and Sanborn dated coffee in the new drip grind is the latest taste sensation. People can't get enough of it. Our roasting ovens all over the country keep hustling it out to the stores in their neighborhoods just as soon as each batch is roasted. That's what makes it so good. It's fresh. And that's important in fine coffee, just the same as it is in any other fresh food. So we have a rapid fresh food delivery system in each district. And we date every silver package, so you know you're getting fine, rich, freshly roasted coffee every time you buy the dated drip grind. No pound of it stays in the store for more than 10 days. It's the same fine blend you get in the Chase and Sanborn regular grind for percolated coffee. And we take pains to find the richest coffees we know how. Then they're roasted to a turn and packed in the economical dated silver package. That's how you save money. Dating and rapid delivery do away with the need for heavy, high-priced containers. Instead, we use the money-saving silver package and pass the saving along to you. Just try dated drip grind yourself. Taste that flavor, the wonderful richness of a great blend freshly roasted. Why, it makes coffee you just can't forget. Buy Chase and Sanborn drip grind dated coffee tomorrow. Boy, it's delicious.
Patient Bergen and impatient McCarthy are at the hospital, waiting for word from us to give us the word from them. So we go from to fro, from here to there, from hither to yon, and without further ado, from Valley to McCarthy. Take it, Mac.
I got it. Oh, Mr. Bergen, isn's feeling better now, huh?
Yes, Charlie, please now.
All right. Just checking up on you, that's all. Just checking up, that's all.
Well, never mind that.
All right.
I think I'm going to check up on you a little bit.
Uh-oh. Normal again, huh?
Yeah. Last week you started a Christmas shopping service.
That's right. Yes, indeed.
Yes. Now, does it still exist?
Yes, it does. Certainly does. Buzzing right along, too. Buzzing right along, Mr. Bergen. Buzzing right along.
Yeah.
Just can't stop it from buzzing.
That's fine. Well, how is this venture financially?
Well, that's a different thing, of course.
Yeah.
You mean moneyly speaking?
Yes, that's what I mean.
Well, you know how it is, Mr. Bergen. Business will fluctuate.
Yes.
Yes, it will fluctuate. Yes, it will. It really does. Just can't stop business from fluctuating.
No, I see. Well, how much can you make in a good day?
In a good day?
Yes.
Well, I wouldn't know. Let's say in a day.
In a day, all right.
In a day.
Yes.
Well, now, let's see. How much in a day?
Yes.
Well, now, sometimes we can make as high as, What did you ask me?
How much can you make in a day?
Oh, yes, how much in a day? Well, I would say as high as high as, of course, then again, it'll fall off a little.
Yes.
So there you are.
There you are.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Charlie.
Uh-huh.
Have you had any customers?
Well,
No.
You see, we're so exclusive, see. Oh, we are so exclusive. We're so exclusive, we're broke.
I see, yeah.
That's how exclusive. We've carried it too far.
Yes. Charlie, didn't Schuyler Van Snort put some money into this business venture to start it?
That's correct. Yes, he did. He did indeed, yes. We used his money for what we call a sinking fund.
A sinking fund?
Yes.
And how is the sinking fund?
It sunk.
It sunk, yes.
Yeah. So that's all right.
Yes. I see. Well, maybe you haven't done enough advertising.
Oh, it's gotten around all right. Oh, yes. Only yesterday we got a call from the Better Business Bureau.
Oh, yeah. From the Better Business Bureau.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Well, what did you tell them?
Well, we told them we could use some. Say, Bergen, how about you going into this thing with us, huh?
You mean you'd like me to invest?
Yes, if you'd like to call it that, yes. And because you and me are such pals, I'll make you a preferred creditor.
A preferred creditor?
Yes.
And what is the advantage of that?
Well, you see, Schuyler won't know for 90 days that he won't get his money back, but I'll tell you right now.
I
see, that's the business cycle.
Yes. Charlie, before I become financially involved, I want to look at your books.
Books? Yes, sir. What do you read? Fiction or non-fiction?
Well, I want to see the financial statement of your business.
Oh, you want fiction.
My advice to you, Charlie, is give up this shopping service.
Oh, you see, I can't, Mr. Bergen. I need to make enough money to buy you a Christmas present.
Oh, I see.
Yes. I feel that I should spend at least $1,000 on your present.
Oh, Charlie.
Yes, I do, Mr. Bergen.
Charlie, are you going to spend $1,000 on my present?
No, I just feel that way. Of course, maybe I like you better than you like me.
Oh, I'm sure my friendship for you is as great as yours for me.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that, Mr. Bergen, because you've got $1,000.
Well, we might change the subject now.
I figured we would, yeah. How about letting us do your Christmas shopping for you, huh?
Well, I don't know what I want to buy yet.
Well, I tell you, you have a list, haven't you?
A list?
Yeah. Or are you the listless type?
No. No, I have a list, but I think I'm capable of doing the buying myself.
Well, no, you're not, Mr. Bergen. You've got to save your strength, you know. Remember, you're
You're just convoluting a lesson. Yeah. Well, that's true, and the stores are pretty crowded at this time of the year. Yes, it is. Isn't it too bad that Christmas comes during the holiday season? Stores are always so crowded. Yeah. Charlie, I'll give you an assignment. Good. Now, you can do my shopping for me. Okay, Klein. Yeah. Now, I was wondering first what I might get for, there's Donald Dixon. Oh, yes, Donald Dixon, yes. Dixon. Oh, yeah. Well, I wouldn't waste much time on him. No. Donald is a very fine fellow. Well, that's one man's opinion. And I'd like to get him something suitable. Why don't you get him a pocketbook with a zipper on all sides? It takes him so long with those safety pins. Oh. No. I think I'll order him a dozen handkerchiefs. A dozen handkerchiefs? Yes. Sir, that's so it'll be. I'll take care of that for you, sir. Now, what size? What size? Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Just make sure that they're big enough. Yeah. What size is his nose? Oh, I don't know. What are you going to get the maestro? A metronome so he can keep time? No. I know what he'd appreciate. What? Well, you see, Bob Armbruster is a philatelist. A what? A philatelist. Is that so? Yeah. Well, he's been acting funny lately. Yes, he's been a little depressed, too. Well, of course, you wouldn't know to look at him, but I suspected you did, yes. Yes, I suspected him. Yeah. Well, Charlie, a philatelist, yes, is a stamp fancier. A stamp fancier. Well, fancy that, yes. Bob has been collecting stamps for years. Uh-huh. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get him a stamp for Christmas. Oh, boy, a stamp. Yes. That's really swinging out, isn't it, kid? Yes. What do you want to get him, a 1 cent or a 2 cent? Or maybe you'd like to splurge and get him an airmail. Well, No, I mean a rare stamp. I think I'd better select that myself. But I'll tell you what you can do. You can buy Dorothy's gift for me. Oh, Dorothy Lamour's? Yes. Oh, yeah. Good old Dottie. What do you want to get Dottie? Well, I was thinking of getting Dottie some mules. Yeah. What did you say? Mules. Mules? Yes. Oh, come. Yes, mules. Mule. Oh, I don't think she would care for that. Yes, I think it would be very nice. Mules? Yes. Don't you think one would be enough? No. Oh, I don't like to, not that, I don't want to, Chris, if you don't want to get them, I'll get something. No, I'll find them. A pair of mules. Very good. I'll find a nice pair. Yes. Gentle. Yes, all right. Yes. Of course, she has a car. That's beside the point. All right. Mules, it'll be mules. Yes, all right. Any particular color, white or black? No, I think red would be nice. Red mules? Yes, red. Uh-huh, red mules, yes. You did say red. I said red. I've never seen red. Well, find them. I say yes, we'll find them, yes. Red mules, that's it. Red mules with ostrich feathers. Ostrich feathers, yes. Oh, nurse, come and get him.
From Gounod's opera, Philemon and Baucis, Lansing Hatfield sings the powerful Vulcan song, the song of the lusty-voiced blacksmith who, amidst the pounding of his anvil and the forging of his metals, tells his story to the world.
Au bruit des lumes au sombre éclat de la fournaise, dans mon empire souterrain, je mange et je respire à l'aise. Je règne un maître souverain. chez vous, j'en ai honte. Chaque fois que j'y monte, je ne rage de me voir si difforme et si noir. Mon aspect vous fait rire et tout bas j'entends dire Venise n'avait pas tort, il mérite son sort. Sans écouter le reste, l'industrie je céleste, moi je fuis. Voilà pourquoi j'aime à rester chez moi. Sous les mots fermés au ciel bleu, je commande toute une amie d'un noir géant mettre du feu au sein de la dente fumée. Comme vous là-haut, je suis Dieu. Mais quand Ginon m'invite à lui rendre visite, je me rage de me voir si difforme et si noir. Mon aspect la fait rire et tout bas j'entends dire Venise n'avait pas tort, il mérite son sort. Sans écouter le reste, l'industrie je céleste, moi je fuis. Voilà pourquoi j'aime à rester chez moi.
There are two schools of thought on the subject of parting. One maintains that absence makes the heart grow fonder, and the other claims out of sight, out of mind. We hope you're of the grow fonder school, because your Chase and Sanborn Company will be around again next Sunday to renew friendships. And just so there won't be any forgetting, when you drink your cup of Chase and Sanborn coffee, think of us. And when we drink ours, we'll think of you. In that way, we'll both be drinking to friendship, because Chase and Sanborn coffee is friendship. Friendship in a cup. May I tell you all how enjoyable it has been being with you for the past 5 weeks. And may I blow the first fanfare of welcome at the return of your vacationing host, Don Amici. With Don next Sunday will be Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy, Donald Dixon, Dorothy Lamour, Robert Armbruster and the Chase and Sanborn Orchestra. As special guest will be Geraldine Fitzgerald. So until we meet again, this is Rudy Vallee, anticipating another High Hope.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Rudy Vallee's final appearance as the host of the Chase and Sanborn Hour, 85 years ago, December 10th, 1939, here on the Classic Radio Theater podcast. We'll have crime and creepiness on our Wednesday with an episode of Jeff Regan Investigator from 1948 starring Jack Webb, the gambler, and his lady. We'll also have an episode of Gangbusters in the case of the Thornberry brothers. We'll have another episode of that creepy, delightful series from the Far East Radio Network, Macabre. And we'll have also Fibber McGee and Molly. Along the way, we'll have Jonathan Thomas and his Christmas on the Moon and an episode of Blum and Abner. That's all coming up on our Wednesday edition of the Classic Radio Theater podcast. Coming up next, though, we will have an episode of the Mel Blanc Show. Yes, there was a Mel Blanc Show. If you didn't know about it, we'll tell you about it.
Survival in the nuclear age is your responsibility. Are you prepared?
Tommy! Tommy, help me carry in these groceries.
Oh, gosh, Mom, you're going to have a party? Man, look at all that food.
Hands off, young man. That's our 2-week emergency food supply, and it's going right into the shelter.
For 2 weeks following an enemy attack, you may have to survive without outside help. You'll be forced to depend on the supplies you have on hand.
When buying for your emergency supply, choose foods that will provide a well-balanced diet. Be sure to include mostly canned and dried foods that can be eaten without cooking. Store at least 7 gallons of water per person. Change the water every 6 weeks and rotate the food supply at least twice a year.
Remember, a strong defense begins with a prepared family and ends with a protected nation.
Be prepared. Store your emergency food and water supply in your home shelter today.
It was a long-standing joke that everybody that was associated with the Jack Benny Show had 2 shows. Of course, Dennis Day had his own show. Phil Harris, along with his wife Alice Faye, had his own show. And Mel Blanc had his own show. And that's kind of fun when you realize it. It was not because Jack was a cheapskate, okay? He was not a cheapskate. It's just that he hired so many wonderful, wonderfully talented people that they deserved their own show. And so that's what happened here. And the biggest problem this show had was the writing wasn't particularly good. But there was a wonderful cast around him. Let's get to the Mel Blanc Show, 78 years ago, December 10th, 1946.
Let's bring out our star, the creator and originator of Bugs Bunny, Mel Blanc. Come on. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very grateful for this opportunity to meet you and to introduce myself. I'd like to tell you a little about my background. When I first came to Hollywood, it seems when film producers heard my vocal calisthenics, consistently and loud they shouted, "No! This guy don't rate with movie photogenics." They said my face was meant for radio. They said his face was meant for radio. Don't rub it in. So I developed character projection upon the air and finally got a call. Producers hollered, "Mel is our selection, 'cause he's the biggest character of all. 'Cause he's the biggest character of all." You guys can be replaced, you know. I became the happy postman with a manner so beguiling. You remember?
Goodbye, Mrs. Burns. Remember, keep smiling.
I became a train announcer, and my tonsils did a conga with train leaving on track 5 for Anaheim, Azusa, and Cucamonga. They said that he'd look good on radio, and everybody told him where to go. No coaching from the audience, please. As a violin teacher, I made a nice penny, which ain't doing bad when you work for Jack Benny. What a tune your fiddle brings on, how I wish it had no strings on. I force a smile and try to please and cry upon my pillow. I've even been Calliope's, forgive me please, Petrillo. I heard that. As Pedro, when I see a girl with grace, Chiquita, I say,
"Pardon me for talking in your face, senorita."
And then this little guy I've saved for last.
I'm Zuki, and in the fix-it shop, I'm the president. I'm the I'm the vice president. I'm the not so fast.
Is taking in a lot of dough because his face was meant for radio. It's a lie. Why do you think I got a fix-it shop? 'Cause I had to find a way to pay the rent. I'm what is known as a successful flop, 'cause before I get a quarter, it is spent. I'm on a lot of air shows. If I'm lying, I should choke. My tax consultant says if I get one more show, I'm broke. So why do you think I got a fix-it shop?
'Cause for radio his face was meant.
Agents get commission. Don't forget withholding tax. My dentist and physician. And my wife's account at Saks. Publicity and writers. Oh, my aching back and head. If I get laryngitis, then I might as well be dead. My paper profits grieve me, 'cause they never reach the bank. My assets, please believe me, like my second name, are blank.
So why do you think he's got a fix-it shop?
And I only hope the darn thing really clicks. I am the lowest of the guys on top.
He has found that fame and fortune doesn't mix.
There's dough for entertainment, bills and bills the whole day long. I even had to pay a guy to write this stinking song. So why do you think I gotta fix it shop? 'Cause I'm really in a heck of a fix. I'm really in a heck of a fix.
Hollywood, Colgate Tooth Powder presents the Mel Blanc Show with Mary Jane Croft, Joe Kearns, Jerry Hausner, Hans Conried, the sportsman, Victor Miller and his orchestra, and starring the creator of the voice of Bugs Bunny.
What's up, Doc?
Yes, Colgate Tooth Powder for a breath that's sweet and teeth that sparkle brings you the Mel Blanc Show with Mel playing his new character, Zookie.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hi.
And starring himself in person, Mel Blanc.
Hi, folks. Ugga, ugga, boo, ugga, boo, boo, ugga.
Until Christmas, and in Mel Blanc's little town, young men eager to make a good impression are buying Christmas gifts for their young ladies. At the local furrier's, Sam Brown is saying to the clerk,
I'll take this fur coat, wrap it as a gift, and send it Christmas morning.
At the jewelry store, Tom Williams is saying,
I'll take this diamond bracelet, wrap it as a gift, and send it Christmas morning.
And in the candy shop where Mel Blanc has been shopping, Mel is saying,
I'll take this 2-pound box of peanut brittle. No, don't wrap it as a gift. I'll eat it right here.
So Mel ate the peanut brittle. Right now, we find him in his fix-it shop with his girlfriend, Betty. Being very low on funds, Mel is turning the pages of a mail-order catalog, hoping that the pictures may suggest a gift for Betty.
Broom handle, garbage pail, nail polish, eye wash, diamond ring, fur coat, wristwatch, hand wipers, shoe horn.
Mel,
Huh?
stop turning the pages so fast.
Oh, all right. Well, let's start from the front of the catalog.
Yeah, all right, good. Page 1, women's dresses. Page 2, women's bathrobes. Page 3, women's nightgowns. Page 4...
Betty, stop turning the pages so fast. Oh, we don't need this old catalog anyway.
That's right. I got you a perfectly wonderful gift last year without the catalog.
By the way, Betty, what did you get me last Christmas?
Oh, don't you remember, darling, those long-handled Chinese back scratchers?
Back scratchers?
Yeah.
And I've been serving salad with them all year. Gosh, Betty, won't it be swell when we're married and can have Christmas in our own little house? We'll get up Christmas morning and look at the tree with all the presents.
Yes. And then maybe we'll hear the patter of little feet around the tree.
Betty, Santa Claus doesn't bring children.
I know that, Mel. And I think you should also know that Willie Murdoch is giving me a wonderful gift. And very expensive.
Willie Murdoch. He's probably just trying to impress your father. Betty, why does your father favor him over me? He's got little narrow shoulders, and I've got, he's got a small forehead, and I've got, he's got practically no chin, and I've got, gosh, we look so much alike, I don't see how your father can tell us apart.
Willie will take care of that with his Christmas gift.
Oh, is that so? Well, I'm going to get some money and get you a much bigger Christmas present. Oh, hello, Mr. Colby.
Hello, Father.
Betty, are you here again? How many times have I told you to stay away from this no-good, timid nincompoop?
Father, that's not true. Mel is not timid.
Yeah, that's right, Betty.
Betty, this pauper will never amount to anything.
Is that so?
Yes, that's so. I bet you don't have a quarter to your name.
Is that so? That's so. Well, look, Mr. Colby.
Betty, you go on back to the supermarket. You should be helping Willie prepare for the new radio program.
Yeah, all right, Father. Goodbye, Mel.
Bye, Betty. Mr. Colby, did you say something about a radio program?
Yes, but it needn't bother you.
Needn't bother me, Mr. Colby? Me, the greatest actor in town?
Oh, never mind that. I came in to see if you could straighten out this signet ring I'm wearing. It's gotten a little lopsided.
Oh, that's easy, Mr. Colby. Just lay your finger on the counter here.
Here?
Yeah, that's fine. Now I'll just take this hammer and...
Oh, Mel Blanc!
What's the matter, Mr. Colby? The ring isn't lopsided anymore.
No, now my finger is.
Well, Mr. Colby, if I've done anything to hurt you, let me make it up by acting in your radio program.
Oh.
What kind of a program is it, anyway?
Well, it's an idea my manager, Willie Murdoch, gave me. I'm sponsoring a program which appeals to the ladies. Great idea, Willie's. Supper at the supermarket.
Supper at the supermarket? Say, that's a natural for me. I would make a perfect master of ceremonies.
Oh, I'm leaving.
Oh, don't go, Mr. Colby. Listen to this. Now you have 8. Will you try for 16? Who does that sound like?
Tommy Manville.
No, Phil Harris. I'll even do his accordion. I should have said Baker. I'll even do Baker's accordion. I can do either one of them, but I'll do Phil Baker's accordion. Listen to this.
Oh, Mel Blanc, I've had enough of your silly clown.
Wait a minute. I'm a natural for radio, Mr. Colby. Listen to this.
You gotta start out each day with a song, even if things go wrong. Mel Blanc, you come around to my program and I'll break every bone in your body now.
How do you like that? Everybody wants to get into the act. Please, Mr. Colby, give me a chance. Besides, I need the money badly. I want to get Betty a Christmas gift, and I don't want to give her just anything. I want to give her something she'll like.
Now, don't worry. If she likes you, she'll like anything. Besides, my manager, Willie Murdoch's going to be the master of ceremonies. Well, I gotta go now.
Oh, wait, Mr. Colby, just one more. There's good news tonight. The international picture is a bit clouded. On the one hand, we see good tidings. On the other hand, we see bad tidings. Who knows? Tomorrow may be just tidings. In conclusion,
I'm leaving.
Oh, gosh, I'll never be able to get enough money for Betty's gift. What'll I do? There's bad news for Mel Blanc tonight. In conclusion, we can safely say that for Mel, it looks very blank.
Use Colgate tooth powder, keep smiling just right. Use it each morning and use it each night. Don't take a chance with your romance. Use Colgate tooth powder.
A breath of trouble can spell the doom of happiness between bride and groom. That little breath of trouble, I mean unpleasing breath, has ruined many a romance. Don't you be an innocent victim. Here's a helpful hint. Brush your teeth night and morning and before every date with Colgate tooth powder. For Colgate tooth powder cleans your breath as it cleans your teeth. Yes, scientific tests have definitely proved that in 7 cases out of 10, Colgate tooth powder instantly stops unpleasing breath that originates in the mouth. What's more, no dentifrice at any price cleans your teeth more quickly and thoroughly than Colgate tooth powder. Remember to buy it first thing. And remember the name, Colgate tooth powder, with the accent on powder.
Don't take a chance with your romance. Use Colgate tooth powder.
Now, Victor Miller, the sportsman, and Uncle Remus.
Uncle Remus, Uncle Remus, Uncle Remus said, gather round me, little children, before you go to bed. Just give him your attention, hear what he's got to say. I'll tell you how the animals got that way. The leopard's pappy got the gout from eating too much speckled trout.
His mammy dreamed of polka dots,
and that's how the leopard got his spots. That's what Uncle Remus said. That's what Uncle Remus said. From speckled trout and polka dots.
That's how the leopard got his spots.
More, Uncle Remus, tell us more.
The piggy saw his monkey friend swinging by his other end.
He tried the same thing on a rail,
and that's how the piggy got a curly tail.
That's what Uncle Remus said. That's what Uncle Remus said. He tried the same thing on a rail. That's why the piggy got a curly tail. That's all, little chillins. That's all, little chillins. Be good, little chillins.
Time to go to bed.
That's right, Uncle Remus. Good night, Uncle Remus.
Sleep tight, Uncle Remus.
Or we'll put a hole in your head. Your head.
Mel Blanc tried to get the job of Master of Ceremonies on Mr. Colby's new radio program, Supper at the Supermarket, so that he could buy his girlfriend Betty as expensive a gift as the one his rival, Willie Murdoch, is getting her. But Mr. Colby turned Mel down cold, and Mel still hasn't been able to raise any money. However, the wonderful thing about Mel is that he never worries. Despite his predicament, he calmly goes about his duties in the fix-it shop. Right now, his keen mind is tackling the delicate problem of restoring the voice of a mama doll.
Gosh, if Willie gets Betty a better present than I do.
With experienced fingers, he deftly manipulates the mechanism of the voice of the doll.
I gotta get some money. Gee, my customers owe me plenty.
Now, having completed the delicate operation, he tips the mama doll gently forward.
Just like new. Oh, I know what to do. Hey, Zuki!
Yeah, Mel.
Look, Zuki, here's a list of people who owe us money. I want you to go out and collect it.
Oh, okay, Mel. You can depend. On me. Gee, I hope I can collect some money for Mel. Well, here's the first house. Here, Mrs. Brown. I'll ring the baby. I'll knock on the door. Hello, Mrs. Brown. I came to collect for Mel's repair job on your washing machine.
What? Do you know what he did to my washing machine? I just put these sheets through it and look at them.
Gee, what lovely lace curtains. Well, here's the Jones house. How do you do, Mrs. Jones? I came to collect the bill for Mel Blanc. Well, here's the Smith house. How do you do, Mrs. Smith? I came to collect... Well, here's the Gibbs house. How do you do? Well, here's the Martin house. Nobody home.
Well, Zuki, how did you make out?
Oh, well, I collected 10 to the 5 to the 3 to the not a dime. Oh, Mel, here comes Mr. Cushing, the president of the Loyal Order of Benevolent
Zebras.
Thanks.
Hello, Mel.
Greetings, mighty potentate. Ugga. How are you feeling?
Not very well, Mel. Last Thursday, my wife and I had the worst fight we've ever had. Next morning, she was in the hospital.
Poor woman.
Poor woman, nothing. She was visiting me. Brought me a pie. She says,
Eat it. It's good for you. It'll melt in your mouth.
Well, did it melt in your mouth?
Yeah, but it hardened in my stomach. Everything about that woman is hard, Mel. Her relatives, her feelings, her face, her voice. If only your arteries would get that way. I don't know why I'm standing here telling you all this. It's just that I got to know when the doctor. Well, Mel, gotta be going.
Before you ugga, mighty potentate, where are you going?
Well, I'm going to Colby's supermarket program. The wife will be there because they're giving away a $40 bottle of perfume to the oldest woman in the audience.
Well, do you think your wife is old enough to win it?
Ha!
You really married a woman much older than you, didn't you?
Mel, age didn't matter. When I first met my wife, Babe, I worshipped the ground she walked on. Besides, she owned the property.
I guess in your case, Cupid was a real estate agent. Say, did you go with Babe much before you married her?
Well, I went with her for 5 years. And then her uncle died and left her $3 million. After that, it was a case of love at first sight.
Oh, you only married her because her uncle left her that money.
No, that's not true, Mel. I would have married her no matter who left her the money. Mel, how different it was when we were first married. I remember I carved our initials on a big tree. She was so touched, she kissed the tree.
How romantic. Then what happened?
The tree died. Man, you're not listening very carefully.
Well, I was just thinking. If I was the oldest lady in Colby's supermarket, I'd get the $40 bottle of perfume. Then I'd give it to Betty, and that would settle everything. Say, mighty potentate, do you know where I can get a lady's wig?
Well, I could let you have one of my wife's. But I won't have any part of such skullduggery. Goodbye, Mel.
Ugga. Gosh, I wonder how I sound as an old lady.
Ugga, ugga, boo, ugga, boo, boo, ugga.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Well, are we having fun? Isn't supper at the supermarket a gosh dandy program? Ha, ha, ha. Yes, sir. Well, the woman with the funny hat can sit down now. Well, this is Willie Murdoch handing the mic back to your host, Mr. Colby, who will select the very oldest lady in our audience.
Excuse me, young lady. May I sit next to you, girl?
Why, certainly, madam. My, you're awfully old.
Well, I gotta be to win the prize I'm getting for you.
Mel, you in a dress and a wig.
Shh, quiet, Betty. Now, I'll get you a better gift than Murdoch, and I don't care how I do it.
Now, ladies, the highlight of our show, the awarding of this $40 bottle of perfume. I'm going to select the oldest lady in the audience. Call out your ages, please.
70. 80. 85.
90.
100. That's my last offer.
very quaint way of putting it. Madam, did you say you were 100?
That's right. 100 going on.
Going on what?
On adrenaline. What else?
Madam, what do you attribute your long life to?
Oh, vitamins.
Vitamins, eh?
Yep. My uncle ate vitamins all the time, every day. Oh, made him so lively and jumpy. Always jolly and happy. Finally, at 90, he died.
He died, huh?
Yep, happiest funeral you ever saw.
Well, madam, before I give you the grand prize, we'd like to know what is your secret ambition?
To get the bottle of perfume.
Not yet. You must tell us what your secret ambition is.
Well, I'd like to go on the radio.
Well, what could you do on the radio?
Oh, I'd be a great mistress of ceremonies on a program like this. Guess who this is? You have 8. Will you try for 16?
I know. Phil Harris. I should have said Baker.
No, Tommy Manville.
Hey, that sounds familiar.
I'll take the perfume now.
No, not before you do another impersonation, grandmother.
Well, all right. You gotta start out each day with a song. Even when things go wrong.
I've heard that before only a short while ago.
I like that. Everybody wants to get into the act. I'll take the perfume now.
Mr. Colby, we only have 30 seconds left on the air. It's time for you to kiss the old lady.
I'll go and you can keep the perfume. So long. So long.
Just as I suspected. Mel Blanc, I'll teach you to make a fool out of me. I'm going to break every bone in your body.
Gosh, Betty, imagine your father throwing me out like that. A fine way to treat an old lady.
Oh, Mel, darling, it's all my fault. I should never have mentioned Willie Murdoch's gift to you. To get me a better gift, look what you went through.
Yeah, the door of your father's supermarket. Oh, what's the use?
Oh, look, here comes Willie Murdoch. Willie, what happened to you?
Oh, your father didn't like the program, so he threw me out of the supermarket, too.
He did?
Yeah.
How do you like that? Everybody wants to get into the act.
Mel Blanc will be back in just a minute.
Use Colgate tooth powder, keep smiling just right. Use it each morning and use it each night. Don't take a chance with your romance. Use Colgate tooth powder.
You know, that breath of trouble, unpleasing breath, has put the brakes on many a promising business career. So be on your guard against this handicap. Do this. Brush your teeth night and morning and before every date with Colgate tooth powder. For Colgate tooth powder cleans your breath as it cleans your teeth. Yes, scientific tests have definitely proved that in 7 cases out of 10, Colgate tooth powder instantly stops unpleasing breath that originates in the mouth. What's more, no dentifrice at any price cleans your teeth more quickly and thoroughly than Colgate tooth powder. Remember to buy it first thing, and remember the name, Colgate tooth powder, with the accent on powder.
Don't take a chance with your romance. Use Colgate tooth powder.
This is Mel Blanc saying thanks for listening, good night, and
that's all, folks.
This is Buffy Street reminding you that Colgate tooth powder for breakfast sweet and deep sparkle brings you the Mel Blanc Show every Tuesday at this time. Be sure to join us again next Tuesday night for more fun with Mel and the people you'll meet in Mel Blanc's Fix-It Shop.
Say hello to Halo Shampoo for naturally bright and beautiful hair. Remember, even finest soaps and soap shampoos hide the natural luster of your hair with dulling soap film. But Halo Shampoo contains no soap, therefore leaves no dulling soap film. Even in hardest water, Halo makes oceans of rich, fragrant lather, quickly banishes loose dandruff and dirt. Halo needs no lemon or vinegar rinse. Say hello to Halo and goodbye to dulling soap film. Get Halo Shampoo at any cosmetic counter.
Remember, Mel Blanc every Tuesday night at this time. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
always fun hearing Mel Blanc and his cast of characters. 78 years ago, December 10th, 1946, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Let's go back to December 10th, 1948. In a moment, we'll check out and see what's going on in the home of Claudia.
Two weeks, 14 days, 326 hours. Every second that your family could be exposed to radiation after a nuclear attack. Radiation that kills.
To survive, a fallout shelter is a necessity. Equipment and supplies are essential.
Now, Survive All Shelters, one of the nation's leading manufacturers of fallout shelters, offers a basic equipment kit with
a Conelrad high-powered radio, transistor operated for long battery life,
a complete, fully stocked first aid kit,
a heavy-duty fire extinguisher, emergency water containers, a chemical toilet for protection against contamination and disease,
extra-strength saran and rayon bunks,
a radiation meter, and individual dosimeters.
For protection every second of each hour of every day. See a Survive All Shelter now.
We've got a link to the Survival stuff that was going on back then. And I'm saying nothing bad about Atlas Survival Shelters at all. But because I think they make an exceptional product. If I was going to be in a fallout shelter, I'd love to be in one of theirs. But it just goes to show you the hype behind the Survival. And you can check that out in our show notes or over at classicradio.stream. I just think it's a hoot to realize where we were. All right, let's check in and see what's going on with David and Claudia, because it's getting to be wintertime. December 10th, 1948, 76 years ago.
Your Coca-Cola bottler presents Claudia, based on the famous play and novels by Rose Franken. Brought to you transcribed Monday through Friday by your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. Relax, and while you're listening, refresh yourself. Have a Coke. And now, Claudia.
David Norton, hey!
I hear you.
Then why don't you answer me?
Because you never give me a chance.
That's a good reason. Well, anyway. David!
What do you want?
I want to know when are you coming down from upstairs?
In a moment. Why? What do you want?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
You've been howling your head off for me to come down for nothing?
If you let me finish, I just want to tell you there's no reason for you to rush, darling. You've plenty of time to get to the station. We happen to be early today, imagine.
I'm so glad you told me. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome, my love.
Claudia, what is all this shouting about?
Nothing, Mama.
Oh, I thought at least the Indians were coming.
What Indians? Where?
I didn't come to answer your pixie questions.
I'm never a pixie,
but
Mama.
to tell you that Fritz says it's freezing out today. Probably the coldest day we've had so far. If you go out, dress warmly.
Now, wasn't that thoughtful of Fritz? He really is so sweet. Did look sort of cold out of the window, I must say. Mama, how do you think David looks?
He looks the same. Why?
Doesn't look a little tired to you?
Well, he's been working very hard lately.
Around the eyes?
Commuting in the winter isn't easy exactly.
Then you do think he looks tired?
Now, Claudia, stop.
Commuting makes for an awfully long day for him now, doesn't it?
He doesn't seem to mind too much.
Well, he wouldn't admit it if he did. He slept so restlessly all night. When I asked him this morning how he slept, he said, fine,
That's his privilege.
He certainly hates taking care of himself, that man. He hates it even worse when I try and do it for him.
A very normal reaction. You should be grateful that David's not a namby-pamby man.
Mama, I wouldn't have married him if he were namby-pamby. But being un-namby-pamby has its problems, too.
Stop worrying about him.
You're a fine one.
That's advice that's rarely followed.
When a person loves someone as much as I love David. I think I'll go up and see if he's dressing warmly.
Uh-oh.
I'll just pass Fritz's message on to him. I'll be my most tactful.
Claudia, careful of those stairs. You have to take them 2 by 2.
Stop worrying about me, Mom. It doesn't pay, remember? Say, David.
Are you up here?
Now, David, listen, I didn't come up for nothing. I came up for a purpose.
A purposeful female causes men to duck.
Then duck. I came up to tell you it is freezing out.
How do you know? Have you been out?
No, but Fritz has, and it's so freezing he even thought it worthwhile to let us in on it. What do you think? David, I saw the Danes running round. Their breath was smoking.
Cigars or
And
pipes?
what's more, the paper said it'd be freezing out today.
Good for the papers. Although, according to the paper's record, that probably means we'll have a heat wave today.
Yeah, probably.
Why all the statistics?
No reason.
Well, it was awfully sweet of you, darling, to come all the way up to the bedroom to tell me it was freezing out today. Thanks a million.
David,
What?
pardon my asking, but are you wearing woolen socks?
What's it to you?
Not much, but I hate a man with cold feet.
It's too bad. Sort of limits you, doesn't it?
You will have cold feet if you don't wear woolen socks today. Do you want me to hate you?
Ooh, you wouldn't do that, would you?
Well, I might. Oh, David, now listen, please. Wear woolen socks. Stop being so stubborn.
How do you know I'm not wearing woolen socks?
Then why didn't you say so in the first place?
Because it's none of your business.
Simply marvels me the way you decide what's my business and what's your business.
Well, my feet are my business.
And if you catch cold, I suppose that's your business, too.
If I catch cold, then that's my business, too.
Not if you want to stay home and have to stay home, complain around the house and drink
If
hot
I have a
lemonade.
cold, I will not stay home and complain around the house.
Oh, you'd rather go to that office and have me worry about you all day.
I certainly would. I'd much rather.
Fine way to behave, I must say. A very noble, upstanding way to behave.
That's the way I behave, and that's final.
David, what are we arguing about? You don't have a cold. Have you?
We're not arguing. But one thing has to be clear. If I have a cold or not, it's my business.
Do you have a cold?
I have not.
But, David, you just said that
I said absolutely nothing of the sort.
All right, you said nothing of the sort. But I distinctly heard you say that you... Is that why you slept badly? David, please don't look at me that way,
It's
please.
the only way you deserve to be looked at.
All right, you win. You win. I will say another word about it, except
Fine.
just one more, general reminder.
No.
As I said, it is freezing out, and it's a long way to the station, and a long way to New York, and a long way...
So I suppose
to
you'd want me to wear
Tipperary.
my long woolen underwear,
David, that's a brilliant idea. Why don't you?
Oh, jumpin' G. Holster.
You can't possibly mind, dear, because you suggested
Now
it.
go away, go away.
Is it about you and taking care of yourself anyway?
Well, I don't need you to tell me how, that's what.
Well, that's not the way it looks to me.
What do you think I did all those years before we were
I
married?
simply shudder to think you must have frizzed all winter and burled all summer.
Exactly.
David, what's the matter? You too good to wear a sweater?
Much too good. I'm even too good to catch cold.
Pride goeth before a fall. David, why do you keep talking about cold? You sure you don't have one?
No, I had to go and open my big mouth. Now leave me alone. I want to tie my tie, and I can't tie my tie.
I know. You can't do it while we're talking. Oh, listen, David. Why don't you put on a woolen tie?
Why? To keep my Adam's apple
It's
warm?
even stylish, darling. So becoming to you. Oh, David, look at the frost on the windows. I can hardly see out. Trees are all icy. Lovely, isn't it? Golly, I'm certainly glad I'm not a bird on a day like this. Oh, look, there's some puddles of ice on the lawn. Ooh, makes me cold just to look at it.
Pull down the shade. Your hints are cutting no ice with me.
I was only talking to myself. You look very handsome in that tie, if I do say so myself. Are you ready?
I'm just taking my tobacco pouch.
Oh, I hope it'll snow soon. It'll just have to snow on Christmas, or I'll never forgive him.
Forgive who?
Who? The weatherman, of course.
You certainly are pixelated this morning. Here, I'll say goodbye to you here.
Oh, no, I will not say goodbye to you here. I know you. You want me to come down so you can sneak out without your overcoat. I know.
What on earth do you take me for, anyway? A fool?
No, not exactly. Just a man.
You really think I want to go outside improperly dressed for the winter air, half-robed and underclothes to shiver and
Well, I don't
sneeze
think you
and
really want to,
sniffle
David. But I think you're torn between being manly and being sensible.
No, don't be
And I just don't see why you can't be manly and sensible both. Besides which, you're perfectly manly just the way you are.
Have you finished?
No, but I guess I better stop.
I'll bet you're heartbroken that fur-lined and raccoon coats went out of style for men.
Oh, you look gorgeous in a raccoon. David, I don't really think your winter coat's very
Now,
heavy.
I'm not
Raccoon-
buying another one this year now.
Then you don't think it's heavy either.
Will you stop putting words in my mouth?
Darling, I know how you hate being sick, and I just thought... And they do say an ounce of prevention
I
is
don't
worth
mind
a
an ounce, but a ton is too much. And put that muffler down, Mrs. Norton.
Oh. I didn't realize I picked it up.
No, I didn't realize it. Well, I have enough around my neck without a muffler.
How'd you like a couple of arms?
I prefer a couple of arms to a muffler.
Here they are.
But Claudia, you're choking me.
I just want you to know that I love you.
Well, I know you love me, and you're choking me, too.
And I want to apologize. I'm a nag.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, it takes a nag to get you to do anything. Even
Well,
then, you
Claudia.
don't do it.
The eternal cry of a woman. She wasn't a nag when she married him, but her husband made her what she is today.
Then you are accusing me of being a nag.
Well, just for seasoning. I forgive you.
Thanks. How lenient you are.
I think you'd be really happy if I left the house every morning looking like a stuffed teddy bear.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
A couple of sweaters under my jacket and a fur-lined coat so that I'd be all hunched up and couldn't move. And galoshes on my feet and earmuffs on my ear and fleece-lined gloves on my hands.
Better and better.
Whew. I suppose you think that's how the well-dressed male should be
Now,
outfitted.
listen, that's going a little too far. That's exaggerating. Aren't you going to put on your rubbers?
My rubbers? What for rubbers?
Because
I
it's
don't
wet out, idiot.
Well, you said it was icy out.
Ice might melt by the time you come home.
Well, good. Then it'll be warm.
Oh, yes, good. Then you'll get your feet wet. That'll be fine. Oh, David, listen, everybody wears rubbers when it's wet out,
No, I
even
don't.
husbands, even men.
Bluff isn't wearing his rubbers, and he's not wearing them. I won't. Besides, I'm bigger than he is.
I give up. When you get whimsical, I give up.
Good. Then I'll have to get whimsical more often.
Don't. I hate whimsy.
So do I, but you drive me to it.
Well, as long as I don't drive you into anything else. Drink
Now,
dope.
I'm ready to brave the elements.
You see, you admit it's going to take courage.
Every time I open my mouth, I put my foot in
Hey,
it.
maybe that's why you don't want to wear rubbers. Well, it's a pretty good reason. Oh, listen, you be coming back on the usual train?
Yeah, I expect so.
Then I wish it were tonight. Because if you were coming back, darling, I'd have nice hot cup of tea on the coffee table and a fire in the hearth and your tweed jacket on the chair. It'd be lovely.
Well, sounds almost worth coming home tonight.
Does?
You know, you're an awful nuisance. You know it?
Yep, I know it.
But for some reason, I have a soft spot in my heart for you.
Well, it's nice of you to say so.
I'll confess something else, too.
What else?
I don't like your worrying about me, but on the other hand, I like your worrying about me.
I know what you mean. David, I just
Now,
wish
don't
you could...
say it. Don't say it.
Darling, listen to the wind. You know how you hate to have a cold, and you know you're going to...
Yeah, I've been listening to the wind the past 15 minutes. I should have left 5 minutes ago instead of being so nice
And if
to
you do catch one, you'll probably blame it all on me.
Well, I probably will.
And that's why
And that's why Yes, go on. Gesundheit.
David, I sneezed.
How clever of you.
I
Gesundheit.
sneezed again.
Darling, you don't think you're catching cold, do you?
Of course not. Why should I be?
I bet that's why you've been so apprehensive about
Nothing
me.
to do with that whatsoever.
How do you feel? Do you have a temperature?
David, honestly, can't a person sneeze?
Hey, maybe you ought to go back to bed and drink some
Oh.
hot tea or a mustard plaster.
Certainly
even.
will not.
Well, now, at least don't go out of the house today. It's very cold.
David, will you kindly stop treating me like a baby or as if I didn't have any sense?
And I still don't like the way you sneezed. Does your headache? You got any temperature?
Heavens. David,
Hmm?
are you the way I sound when you sneeze?
Yes, I guess I am, but I'm serious.
David, I will make a bargain with you.
You will.
I'll leave you alone, David. Always, forever. I'll leave you absolutely alone if you'll leave me alone.
Well, it does sound inviting.
You mean that then it's a deal?
It's a deal if you're feeling all right.
If I'm feeling all... Oh, David, believe me, all I did was just...
Gesundheit. Any good neighbor policy consists of friendly give and take, of hospitality pleasantly shared. Ice-cold Coca-Cola makes such hospitality easy. As soon as those frosty bottles appear, welcome is in the air. For truly, where there's Coke, there's hospitality.
Oh, Mr. King, who was that sneezed?
Well, who do you think, Mrs. Brown?
Well, not David, I hope. Claudia'd be impossible, and so would he.
No, not David. You're safe.
I hope Claudia's not catching cold either. I better go and see what's going on, hadn't I?
Oh, nothing's going on, believe me, Mrs. Brown. Claudia and David are perfectly healthy.
Good. Though I wasn't the least bit worried.
Of course not. Say, Mrs. Brown, do you smell snow in the air?
Snow? Well, I'm not much of a weather vane, I'm afraid.
Yep, that's snow a-coming. Ought to be here for Monday.
First snow is very exciting. I'll see you Monday, Mr. King.
All right, Mrs. Brown. Every day, Monday through Friday, Claudia comes to you transcribed with the best wishes of your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. So listen again Monday at the same time. And now this is Joe King saying au revoir. And remember, whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever you may be, when you think of refreshment, think of Coca-Cola. For Coca-Cola makes any pause the pause that refreshes. And ice-cold Coca-Cola is everywhere. The parts of Claudia and David on this program were played by Catherine Bard and Paul Crabtree. And the entire production is supervised and directed by William Brown Maloney.
76 years ago, December 10th, 1948, Claudia here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Tomorrow on the podcast, we are going to have Jeff Regan Investigator, an episode of Gangbusters, Macabre, Fibber McGee and Molly, Jonathan Thomas and his Christmas on the Moon, and Lum and Abner. Speaking of Jonathan Thomas, we'll hear another episode of that Christmas serial coming up in a moment.
Stocking a 2-week supply of food and water for your shelter area is a very important preparation for possible enemy attack.
Making sure that such food and water supplies are safe from radioactive fallout is equally important. That's what this family is doing.
Well, the food's stored in our shelter safe enough.
Yes, because most of it is in a can, carton, package, or bottle. It would be safe even if it did get exposed to radioactive fallout.
You couldn't eat or drink anything from them until you washed or wiped them off, of course.
Could we drink water that was exposed, Dad, if we boiled it?
No, Bobby. Exposed water requires filtration. But if we ran short, we could use the ice cube water from our refrigerator.
Our canned fruits and vegetables are packed in liquid, so that would help.
We've got to protect the food and water itself. Make sure it isn't exposed to fallout. The same thing is true of our eating and cooking utensils.
So we could wash them if they were exposed.
That's right, son, but we'd have to throw the wash water away outside the shelter.
Wise family.
And a safe one.
Be prepared. Know how to protect your food and water from radioactive fallout.
Some people ask why we're not running the Cinnamon Bear. And there's a reason. Because the Cinnamon Bear started something. Because when that show went out and became successful in 1937, it spawned a number of imitators. And one of those imitators is the show you're hearing this year, Jonathan Thomas and his Christmas on the Moon. And so I figured, well, let's hear some of the other shows. I mean, that's what it's about, right? Variety. This episode of Jonathan Thomas and his Christmas on the Moon, December 10th, 1938, 86 years ago.
Don't turn that dial. This is the right station if you want to hear about Jonathan Thomas and his Christmas on the Moon. Now, I hope every little girl and boy will be very quiet so they may enjoy this wonderful story of Jonathan Thomas, who made such a very important promise. Now, of course, you remember how it all came about, but if you shouldn't, I haven't a doubt it won't take long to remind you again. So this is the way the story began. You see, the Squibobliums broke all the laws and kidnapped poor old Santa Claus. And so it was up to the Man in the Moon and Jonathan Thomas to bring him back soon. So they climbed on the back of Gorgonzola the horse, for it was a long way to go. But then, of course, it was a dangerous road, past the house of the Toad, and over a river so wide, and past the dwarfs who were nice and who gave them some advice about the wicked old witch of Rumpelstitch, who came flying up on her broom. And she laughed and screamed in the awfulest way and said they were all headed for doom. And she cast a bad spell, which worked very well, in the enchanted forest of sleep. But a good fairy queen was very soon seen, when they said the word they had to say, a word they had heard from the dwarfs on the way, a magical word that went this way: Hun, squee, nun, squee, giggly, vey. And the good fairy queen gave them a charm to keep them quite safe from every alarm. But then Whiskery Bill, in the forest of sleep, scared the horse till he couldn't stand still. Then what do you think? As quick as a wink, Jonathan Thomas fell off and went sound asleep. And there was only one token by which the spell could be broken, and that was the red, red rose. But it's winter, and most everyone knows that the brambly briar can't grow a red rose. She could grow a white one, but that's not red. And so to Whiskery Bill she said, "Please go to the rainbow's end. You'll have to go, for there's no one else to send." And so Whiskery Bill went over the hill, and then he met a walrus, and they became very good friends. And, well, here's where the story begins again.
My goodness gracious sakes alive! Do you think that we'll ever arrive? After all, we've traveled quite a way. Oh, please, Sir Algy, what do you say?
Well, blimey, there's lots of things that I could say, but there's one thing that I'm sure I know, and that is we haven't far to go.
No?
Righto. But can't you see by the colour of the air? The Rainbow Bridge is right over there.
Well, Jiminy Crickets, if you're not right. Oh, my goodness, it's a beautiful sight. Why, there's blue and green and yellow and red. There's so many colors they go to my head.
Now listen right careful and be as still as a mouse. The Rainbow Keeper lives in that little house.
Well, then what shall we do?
Well, now that's up to you. It's you who wants the color red.
Oh, of course I do. That's what I told you. I don't want to be killed down dead.
Well, now that's no shame, and I can give you no blame. But here's what you gotta do. You go to the door as I've told you before, and you knock and then say, "How do you do?"
Oh.
Righto.
And then what happens to me?
Well, I don't know. You'll have to go. Then, of course, you'll see. But I can give you an hint. They say he's richer than a mint. And one more thing to make you wiser.
Yes?
Ha ha, you'll never guess. It's rumored around that he's quite a miser.
Oh.
Righto.
Thank you so much for your advice and such, and I guess I'd better start. It won't do to be delayed, even though I am afraid. So I guess here's where we part.
Now up with your chin and march right in, and don't be quite so alarmed, for it might be a treat, that chap to meet, and you might even be a bit charmed.
Oh.
Righto. And I'll wait for your ear, and lots of cheer, and wish you the very best luck. And call, if you like, you poor little tyke. That is if you happens to get stuck.
Well, please keep your fingers crossed and hope and pray I won't be lost. Here I go.
Righto. Hip, hip, and cheerio.
Well, take a deep breath, Whiskery Bill, and knock on the door and stand right still. 1 for the money, 2 for the show. Pound on the door, and here we go. Gang, bang, bang, and biff, biff, biff. Oh, my goodness, I'm frightened stiff.
We don't want any. We've already got some.
Well, that was quicker than you can say scat. For goodness sakes, how do you like that? Such goings on make me sore. Oh, this time I'll really pound this door. Biff, bang, boom, slam, bang, stop. If you don't answer, I'll break the lock.
For goodness gracious to gracious me, what do you want? Whatever it is, you can't have it.
Well, the least you could do is to invite me in.
Why, I'd like to know.
Hurry up and don't be so slow. Are you the keeper of the rainbow?
Of course I am. And I'm a very busy man. So speak up quick or I'll use this stick on you. What do you want?
Well, I was wondering if you'd mind Well, that is, I mean, if you'd be so very kind, well, you see,
For gracious sakes, will you stop all these haws and hems?
Yes, sir. I've come for 2 beautiful ruby gems.
You've come after what?
Oh, no, sir. Not after what. 2 ruby gems. And they must be red.
You're out of your head. Why, you ought to be in bed. You're crazy enough, goodness knows.
Oh, no, sir, I'm not. And they have to be got. They're to be for the Brambly Rose.
Huh. For such a small lad, you're simply quite mad. I won't give you a thing, but I'll make you sing if you don't get out of my sight. Why, the very thought that my rubies could be bought. Why, my dear little squirrel, you're not quite.
Oh, but please, Mr. Keeper, they must be had, or everything will be terribly bad. And without the rose, there'll be such woes. And I will have broken my promise, and he'll stay asleep in that forest deep.
Who?
Why, poor little Jonathan Thomas. Oh, so please, it'll be ever so kind of you, and I only need just 1 or 2.
The answer is no. And now you must go. Now, this is the way to the door.
Say, you keep this up and you'll get me sore.
Just stop your papers and go peddle your papers. I haven't time to worry, so there's the door and here's your hat. And please, sir, what's your hurry?
All right, I'll go. But you'll soon see that you haven't seen the last of me. And when I'm through, I'll feel sorry for you, and you'll be much the wiser. Why, you're meaner than that witch. You'd even push little chickens in a ditch. You're nothing but a wicked old miser.
Ha and ho, and hurry up and go. Now, I'll say goodbye.
Bah, what's good about it? Oh, miser, I never did see such a nasty old thing in all my life. He's a mean...
Well, Struth and Stick, you're back real quick. What did he say?
Well, he didn't say for me to stay. He said for me to go away. That's what he said.
Well, strike me pink, you mean.
Yes, I mean.
And now what'll we do for the color of red?
I don't know.
Here now, wait a mo. I've got an idea.
What?
We'll just be wiser than that old miser. Look, there's the Rainbow Bridge, and I'll tell you what we'll do. We've got to have the red, and it's just entered my head. Ho! We'll break off a piece or 2.
Off the rainbow?
Right-o. Come on here, Whiskery Bill. You can't get anywhere standing still. Look, here now. It's solid ruby. Enough for a king.
Gee whizzle. Oh, but we haven't got a hammer or a chisel or anything.
But as I said, I've a tusk and an head. So what I'll do is put my ivory tusk on the ruby, and then you hammer me on the head. And then, like I said, we'll break off a piece or 2. That's what we'll do.
That's a good idea.
Now then, be as quiet as a mouse, so the miser won't come out of his house. Are we ready?
Yes, but hold right steady.
Now then, you can start in to pound, but don't make too much of a sound. Go ahead. Start pounding on me head.
Here I go. We got the ruby!
Hey, get away from that rainbow!
Come on, Sir Algy, we gotta run!
Righto, run for your life. There's hundreds of rainbow police chasing us.
We'll be caught. Here come the police!
Well, and so they finally got the rubies red from the rainbow. But will they be caught and put in jail maybe for 1,000,000 years? Well, that old miser didn't have any right to refuse poor Whiskery Bill 2 teensy-weensy rubies, because anyway, he doesn't own the Rainbow Bridge. Everybody does. Well, we mustn't forget to hear the next story of Jonathan Thomas, so we can hear what happened to Sir Algy and Whiskery Bill. I won't forget. Don't you?
There you go. Going back 86 years. December 10th, 1938, Jonathan Thomas and his Christmas on the Moon. And now let's get to another episode of Superman, but first, this important word.
This is basic civil defense information from the Department of Defense, Office of Civil Defense, Washington. If our nation ever comes under nuclear attack and you take shelter to protect yourself from radioactive fallout, water is the key emergency supply. Each person will need at least a quart a day, and if there's not enough water stored in your shelter, here are additional places to find it, especially if you plan to use a home shelter where you'll be on your own. Local authorities may instruct you to turn off the main water valve. When you do this, the pipes inside the house will still be full of water. Next, turn on the faucet located at the highest point in your house to let air into the system. Then use water from the faucet located at the lowest point in your house. You can also use water in your hot water heater, in the flush tanks, or water in ice cube trays, milk, soft drinks, canned juices. If necessary, you can even drink water that's been exposed to fallout. However, very young children should be given non-contaminated liquids when available. For more information, consult your local civil defense office.
All right, we wrap up this episode of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox with another episode of Superman and the Pan-American Highway story. This episode originally broadcast December 10th, 1941.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice. But before we join Superman, listen.
And now to our story. As you remember, Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen were sentenced to death in the Valley of the Shadows because they were unable to tell the Supreme Council of the Inca Indians how Kent and White escaped from their dungeon prison. Bronson, the pilot, was spared because the Indian chiefs hoped he would teach them how to fly the stratosphere plane marooned on the mountain plateau. Discovering that Bronson was being held in a tunnel cell, Kent joined him there and learned of the death sentence imposed on Lois and Jimmy. Posing as chief of a distant tribe, Kent asked Seba, the aged tunnel gatekeeper, to take him to the Valley of the Shadows. The ruse almost worked until Seba noticed that the jewel Kent wore around his neck had changed color, proof that he was lying. In the meantime, Lois and Jimmy, flanked by armed warriors, have entered the Valley of the Shadows and are slowly approaching a giant waterfall that thunders over a cliff and seems to pour into a huge hole in the ground. As they near it, the warriors stop, draw back, and begin to chant. Listen.
Well, I guess this is the last stop, Miss Lane. What do you think they're going to do with us?
I don't know, Jimmy. Whatever it is, you can be sure it won't be pleasant. This must be the sacred river they were talking about.
I don't see any river. It's just a big hole that looks like a kettle, and that water pouring over the cliff is falling into it.
It must be an underground river, or else that hole would overflow. Look at its seas.
Think they're going to drown us in that underground river?
I don't know. Remember what I told you, Jimmy. No matter what happens, we've got to take it with our chins up.
I know, but we wouldn't have a chance if that water travels underground. It's like a whirlpool.
Easy, Jimmy, easy.
If it was only some way of reaching Mr. Kent, I know he'd get us out of this.
I'm afraid both Mr. Kent and Mr. White were too anxious to save their own skins to worry about us.
Oh, don't say that, Miss Lane. It can't be true.
They've stopped chanting. Something's going to happen. Hold my hand, Jimmy.
You're trembling. Your fingers are cold as ice.
I'll be all right. Well, here they come, Jimmy.
Wait. I found something in my pocket.
What do you mean?
It's a police whistle Mr. Kent gave me a long time ago. Do you think if I blew it loud, someone might hear it?
I'm afraid not, Jimmy.
Well, there'd be an echo, wouldn't there? It might travel a long way. I'm going to try it. Here goes.
shrill and sharp, the whistle rings through the valley just as the Indian warriors close in on Lois and Jimmy and force them close to the seething cauldron of angry water. Miles away, at the entrance to the mountain tunnel, the last dying echo of the whistle reaches Superman's keen ears.
What was that? Police whistle in these mountains? Must be Jimmy blowing it. All right, Seba, I won't need your help now. I know where the Valley of the Shadows is, where that whistle came from. Up, and away!
Like an arrow shot from a massive bow, Superman knifes the darkness, winging high over the jagged peaks of Tupungato, his unerring sense of direction leading him straight to the source of the whistle's distant echo, the Valley of the Shadows. For a moment he hangs suspended above the roaring waterfall, above the huge foaming hole into which it is pouring. But only for a moment. His sharp, all-seeing eyes have seen two figures being hurled into the mad, churning whirlpool. Like a plummet, he drops from the sky, cleaves the water with the speed of a torpedo, and lets it sweep him underground into the thundering blackness.
Where are they? I couldn't have hit the water more than a second after they were thrown in. It only wasn't so dark. Wait. Something up ahead. It's Jimmy. I'm coming, Jim. Keep your head up. There. Got him. Oh, poor kitty's half drowned. Now to find Lois. She can't be far away. Ah, there she is. Struggling, trying to swim. It's impossible in this torrent. Don't fight, Lois. All right. I got you, Lois. No, she's unconscious. Well, maybe it's better that way. Neither of them will know how they were rescued. Now to fight my way back against this current. No, wait. Maybe I won't have it. There seem to be pinpoints of light up ahead. What? They're stars. Evidently, this river does flow above ground beyond the falls. Well, that's a relief. Ah, there we are. This is much better being out in the open. Now I can wade ashore and revive Lois and Jimmy. There. Dry land feels good. Looks like I'd better work on Jimmy first. Artificial respiration should do the trick. Over gently. Now, gentle pressure on the lower ribs should force the water out and the air in. Breath. 2, 3. Relax. Breath.
As Superman works over Jimmy and Lois in an attempt to restore them to consciousness, Perry White, still disguised as an Inca warrior, returns to the dungeon beneath the palace to join John Craig, one of the American engineers. Crossing the courtyard, he makes his way along the corridor toward Craig's cell, only to stop short as he hears approaching footsteps.
I've got to find Craig's cell before that guard spots me. Now, let's see. 15 paces beyond this corridor. This should be it. Craig.
Is that you, Mr. White?
Yes. Open up. Quick, someone's coming.
All right. Come on in. Fine. Here. Put one of the links of the chain over that bolt on the outside. There. That'll look as if the door's locked.
That guard is carrying a torch. He's coming this way. He must have heard us. Quick, into the shadows. Pretend to be asleep.
All right.
That was close. Yeah.
Where's Kent?
The stupid fool got himself locked in with Bronson, our pilot, up in the tunnel.
Well, they're probably safe enough up there.
Sure, they're safe. But what about Lois and Jimmy? What's happened to them? For all we know, they may be dead. And there isn't any way of finding out.
Shh. That guard's coming back. Keep down. I'll try snoring again.
Well, you should feel a lot better now, Jim, with all that water out of your lungs.
Oh, I do. Gosh, I must have swallowed half that river.
No, not quite. How about you, Lois? Feel all right?
A little weak, but glad to be alive. I still don't understand how you pulled us out.
Well, I told you. I was wandering through the valley searching for you when I heard Jimmy's police whistle. I ran to the place where the river came out of the ground, and both of you floated by like logs.
Sounds like a fiction story. But we're here, and that's what counts.
What happened to Mr. White? Where's he?
I told you we found one of the engineers in a cell under the palace, a man named Craig. I imagine he and Mr. White are waiting there for us.
What are we going to do? We've got to get them out.
Well, we will, all in good time.
Well, while you're figuring out a way, I'll wring out my clothes.
Gee, that's right. We're all wet. How about building a fire, Mr. Kent? There's plenty of dry twigs here.
Fine. We can strike some sparks from these rocks, Indian style. I don't think a fire will be seen.
Boy, there's plenty of wood. Some dry moss for tinder.
Uh-huh. Ah, swell. These rocks look as if they'll do. Hard as flint. Now, here goes. When the sparks fall, you start blowing to me.
Okay.
Ready? There's some sparks.
She's taken. Oh, boy. Feels good. You sure they won't see the flame?
Oh, not a chance, Lois. You see, the Incas think this river drops straight down to the center of the earth. If they knew about this spot, they'd know that the river comes up in these mountains. Well, we must be miles from the city.
Mr. Kent, if the Incas think the river goes to the center of the earth, then they must think we're gone for good.
That's right, Jimmy.
Oh, and if we're supposed to be dead, nobody'd suspect us of being alive.
Jimmy, a couple of more brilliant deductions like that, and you'll be up in Einstein's class.
Oh, wait, hold on, Lois. Stop kidding Jimmy. He's got something there.
Well, if it's another clever plan to win their friendship, I give up.
Oh, it's more than that. Assume we've been given up for dead. And assume we could make the Incas believe that Mr. White and Mr. Craig are dead, too. Then we could really work undercover. Meanwhile, we'd all be safe here.
I won't consider myself safe until I'm back in Metropolis.
You will be soon. Right now, I've got to get back to the palace and find Mr. White and Mr. Craig.
Oh, I'm coming with you.
Nothing doing. You stay right here and protect Lois. Fine gentleman you are.
Oh, gee, I'm sorry.
All right. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Once out of sight of Lois and Jimmy, Kent in his true guise of Superman flies to the Inca palace and drops into the courtyard. Then, with the stealth of a panther, he climbs the wall and enters the rear door of the dungeon. It's gloomy and silent as he makes his way toward Craig's cell. Waiting until the guard's footsteps have died away, he starts forward as Clark Kent.
That must be the cell. Yes, it is. Mr. Craig, it's Clark Kent.
Kent, how did you get out of that tunnel?
Never mind now. Is Mr. White with you?
Yes, I'm here, you numbskulled idiot. Why in the name of heaven?
Listen. I stopped at the dungeon to get your clothes.
Well, what's the matter with these Inca costumes we're wearing?
Listen, there's no time to explain. Now fill these coats and pants with straw. There's plenty of it on the floor.
Kent, are Lois and Jimmy all right?
Yes. Hurry, will you?
What's this all about?
Please, Mr. White, do as I say. I'll tell you later. Now, hurry.
More your nonsense, eh?
All right. Will you please hurry? Hurry up. The guard's coming. All right, are the clothes stuffed?
Mine are.
Good.
Same here.
All right, then let's go. Bring these dummies with you.
Dummies? Kent, what are you talking about?
I'll explain later. The guard's coming. We've got to get out of here. Now, follow me. Come on.
What is Clark Kent planning to do with the straw-stuffed dummies? Something is brewing, and you can be sure that whatever it is, it's going to be exciting. So don't miss a single episode. Tune in and listen with Superman.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
From 83 years ago, December 10th, 1941, Superman, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll see you tomorrow for more great classic radio theater, and I'll have some things to say, too, that probably won't be great. I'm Wyatt Cox. Have yourself a great day.